Hello and welcome to this yearly vlog, because it is now 2019 and it is the 6th of January, and just like the last couple of years, this is the date that marks my sort of annual update vlog kind of video. So here it is. Let's take a look back at 2018 first, in terms of in general. Not talking politics, not talking world situations, because that kind of boring stuff is not what you're here for. If you were here, if that was the case, I would make a lot more political videos, and that is not the case. So, 2018 for me was a turbulent year, to say the least. Definitely a year with its ups and downs, and mostly downs, because as I had feared and sort of semi-expected, 2018 was the year that I officially got depression. Now, depression is not something to take lightly, of course, and I apparently, according to my doctor and the psychiatrist that I spoke to, my depression have apparently been going pretty much since early December 2017. So it's been a long time where I've been unable to control my feelings. I have had multiple mood swings. There are several other factors that have played in. I felt that if I drank even the smallest amount of alcohol, not that I had a really big problem with it beforehand, I felt that if I drank even a small bit of alcohol, not enough to get drunk, but I could just feel my emotions running out of control, so I've essentially stopped drinking alcohol altogether. So yeah, that's one thing. And I am taking medication. I have to do that for another year until September 1st, where my medical treatment and sort of medical buffer zone towards getting back into the depression state is finally over. So I'm taking one pill daily, so it's nothing big. It's like essentially what it does is that it helps me sleep. It clears my mind so that I'm able to go to bed without worrying about things, so that I can actually sleep. Because sleeping was, or rather lack of sleep, was a huge problem during the summer holiday, where it was not as bad as one of my previous incidents where I had a cumulative 3 hours of sleep in a week. So, but it was not that bad this time around, but it was still to a point where I couldn't function and I couldn't sleep, and that all sort of kept rolling down the hill like a snowball, just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it was definitely a cry for help. I don't know what I've done. Like, they asked me if I had considered suicide, to see how bad my depression was, of course, and to see if I was at risk of harming myself. And I said no, just once, and I don't know if that could be considered a thought about suicide. I had a thought while I was walking one day down in the city here, and the thought was that I was to cross the road because I needed to get to somewhere on the other side, and despite there being a crossing path for pedestrians, I just had the feeling that when I walked across this road, I looked at a car far away, not even close to me, but the thought just occurred to me: what if that car didn't stop? What if I got hit? And it wasn't to the point of fatal injury was on my mind. It was more the thought of maybe that would be better if I got hit and got hospitalized or whatever. I didn't think that far. It was really just a spur of the moment, and looking back at it, it scared me, and still does. It's not pleasant to talk about, but I guess it's part of being who I am, and I gotta own up to that at some point. So yeah, not so much more to say about that. I know that's a bit of a dark start to this sort of vlog, but it's part of what have been happening to me, and since I'm the only person on this channel, both in terms of making stuff and in terms of editing stuff, and in terms of publishing stuff, making it go out on social media, I feel that it was necessary to talk about, because it's something that's been affecting me, despite it might not be being able to come out on the videos that I've made, because essentially I've put on a mask and say, you know, these are my kinds of problems, this is the kind of shit that I have to deal with, and now we're making a video. So let's put the shit away, let's put on a mask, let's put on a happy face. And even though I haven't been using my webcam, it's metaphorically speaking, of course, where I essentially say that we forget about the lousy stuff right now for the moment being. Let's focus on make this video, because I know how to do that, and it actually makes me feel good when I click the button to end a recording and looking at the whole thing and be like, this was good, I did well today. So yeah, enough about that. Alright, let's speak more about 2018 as what happens on my channel, because that is obviously why you're here. I needed to get that off my chest first, so sorry about that. 2018 was, for my channel, a good year. A really good year, in fact. First off, I discovered how that my recording software, Filmora, Wondershare Filmora, have the function to record from my PC screen, which obviously allows me to make recordings of PC games, as you may have seen, which of course have given me a whole new opportunity and a whole new range of games that I can play and make silly commentary and silly voices to, and I did. So yeah, that part works wonderfully, and it has its quirks. It's not the most best in terms of editing. It comes out in a single file, but the good thing is that as soon as you stop the recording, the video is ready. It doesn't need to render or anything, because, well, it's using its own program to make the video, so to say. So it's already in a file format that it likes. I haven't tried making it into a different kind of format because, well, this works. But maybe if something goes wrong, I might have to. So we'll worry about that if and when it happens. Can't worry about something that hypothetically right now. So obviously that gave me a boost, not only in terms of how do I feel, because now I can actually make some videos of the visual novels that I love very much, and show and have the opportunity to make silly voices, which is, being a voice actor is still my biggest dream. It's what I really want. If I were to say that my channel has a purpose, that purpose is to eventually secure myself position as voice actor. Now, voice actor is not a steady position unless you're really professional, like Matt Mercer and so on. Obviously, I aspire to one day reach such a point myself, but there's no haste to getting there. So the idea for my channel is that it's the sort of stepping board that towards becoming a fully fledged voice actor. And I kind of like how it works out. So obviously, there have been, so far I've recorded 2 full visual novels and about 4/5 of another visual novel. Obviously, Love at First Sight and Sakura Space are relatively short and relatively easy on the the eye, well, Sakura Space being a Sakura visual novel is definitely in its own field of work. I have other Sakura novels and they might come up as videos down the line. And Love at First Sight there's not much to say about that other than it's the very first visual novel that I completed, and as such it has a very special place in my heart, and I really like how it looks and how the story goes. There could be much more to that story, but I kind of like how short and simple it is. For me, it was a great gateway into visual novels as a whole, and obviously, since I've been reading visual novels since 2015, it's something that's stuck. So yeah, that part is good. There also was, obviously, with this new ability to record from PC, I could reach a new demographic in terms of viewers. With Steam games obviously being an abundance, and I feel that might have played into it, because first, early on in August of 2018, my channel reached the 5,000 views, which was at the time amazing to me, because, well, this is a pretty big round number that I can sort of put a little star on and say, "Woo, party time, I've been here." But I didn't expect it to go much higher than that, because my view count at that point had been slowly but steadily increasing. Not to a point of where something was going like really shockingly fast, but at that point it was going like maybe 1 to 5 views a day, which is all right by me. It was I was never in a rush, but it was like, yeah, it felt good to see that number increase. So for the sake of, actually, I think I was pretty bored at the time. I was probably homesick, and I felt like, well, now I have the time to sort of manage the public relations with my channel, so let's focus on that. So I had not expected it to get as high as it did, and as it is. But I think through reaching a different demographic and the sudden spike in my productivity, because the discovery of the ability to record from PC was really striking me as sort of the strike of good luck, I think. And whether that's the case or whether I simply have been posting more videos, I don't know. But I then said, like, well, at the rate this is going, well, why not get an arbitrary number and see if we can't reach 5,500 in the last 6 months of 2012. And it went beyond my expectations, because currently speaking, we are now sitting at 6,000, and hold on, let me just actually check it, because I have the number. Whatever. It's more than 6,100, and the subscriber count is at currently 62, which is I think about 20 more subscribers since the time when I got the 5,000 views. So that is big. That is very big. And to the new ones of you and to the old ones of you, there's a big thank you. Whether you have participated in spreading my channel because you maybe told one of your friends that, hey, watch this guy, he's doing something odd, or he's really terrible at games, you should watch that. I don't know, but it means something to me that you are sort of there for me. I haven't been having as much interaction with my subscribers as I'd hoped, but that's not a big thing. it means that I can sort of focus on when the interaction comes, when someone makes a comment. It means that I obviously have more mental capacity to go in and say, hey, you thought that was funny. Yeah, I agree with that. Did you like that part too? And I like that. It's a step towards more interaction with my subscribers, and I really love that. I started a Discord, but haven't really done much with that yet. I probably should at some point. But yeah, things are looking pretty good, I would say. Alright, now we come to the looking forward part of this video. So, in terms of looking forward, obviously there is a lot of unpredictabilities in terms of what 2019 will bring. And most of it is convoluted at best and completely impossible to foresee at worst. But that's sort of part of the whole making videos for YouTube. So, in terms of the video, because I can't say much about what will happen in my life, I expect to be done with my current education as a graphical web developer in late April this year. So hopefully that works out. Now, that means that if things go to plan, there is a gap from that late April to around the 1st of August this year, when my next education takes place, which means that obviously I have the month in between as free as sort of unemployed in between kind of status. What that means, what plans I have for that is currently up in the air, and a bit of, I have a few small graphical tasks that I need to perform. I'm tasked with making some beer labels for my mom, and I'm also tasked with making essentially all the graphical parts of their my mom's 60th birthday, and at the same time she decided that she and my father are celebrating their 25-year anniversary, because it's essentially, I think it's like their anniversary and her birthday is like a month apart, at max maybe. So yeah, they figured why not just make one big party and then invite people. So essentially all the invitations, all the kinds of the small cards and such, she have tasked me with making design for that, and I'm really looking forward to that because I like doing graphical work like that. I'm also going to be, obviously the time that I have off from everything is also going to be spent working on my visual novel. As this Christmas has been a little stressful, I have not been able to work on it as much as I wanted to. I had hoped to essentially sit at home with my parents and be like, yeah, I can talk, but I'm actually working on this project, and do you need me for something? No? Okay, then I'm working on this project. Do you need me for something? Alright, then I'll come do that, and then I'll get back to working on my project. But I haven't been able to do that. There have been a lot of talking, a lot of working and preparing stuff. Not in a bad way, but looking back at it, I would have loved to have been able to make more of it than I did. But obviously that wasn't the case. So yeah, not much to do about that. But I intend to work further on my visual novel. It's currently on hold because, as I said, I haven't had time to go in and work with it further. So yeah, that's all there is to that really. In terms of coming series, and in terms of ongoing series, well, let's run down the list and see how things are going. So we have Skyrim Dawnguard DLC, which is also an excuse for me to make more Skyrim videos, and I kind of like that because it's my sort of magnum opus, if you want. It's going fine with that, and I don't plan to stop. All things that are working as they should, so why not continue along that path? As long as things work out, and so far it seems they do. What else do we have? We have Oblivion, which is on hold for the time being. I might go in and sort of say, well, now I haven't played Oblivion in a while, and I don't want it to be another 1 year and 6 month gap between playing and getting the next video out. So it might come soon, it might come a little later, but it'll definitely return. I like Oblivion a lot. And what I'm thinking is that I will get to a point where it makes sense to not halt the Elder Scrolls Online, but definitely put it on hold for a while. And then let Oblivion take over in its place. That does mean that I don't currently have a series ongoing for the PlayStation 4, which is not a big problem, but it's kind of... I have this machine, I have this ability to record from the PlayStation 4, and seeing as it's just sitting there, and well, obviously I'm playing on it, but there are always a couple of indie games and free games on the PSN store that might be interesting. I made a video just before the New Year's about Burly Men at Sea, a lovely little indie game that I believe was part of the free lineup for November on PlayStation Plus. But yeah, essentially I can make more videos like that, and I have a couple of ideas for smaller series for the PlayStation 4. So yeah, that also took in the account of the Elder Scrolls Online, essentially at the same time as the Elder Scrolls for Oblivion. Right, then there is the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. As you may have noticed, the format which the videos are uploaded in is different. And that is because it's an old game, and the resolutions that it offers simply aren't as, so to say, smoothed over as modern games are. Now, remember, Morrowind was released in 2002. That's 17 years ago. There's a good chance that some of my subscribers weren't even born back then. Which to me is pretty amazing. So it's my first time playing Morrowind, and while the graphics aren't great, let's just be honest and say that outright, the amount of lore and being back in, to me, a brand new Elder Scrolls experience is amazing in its own right, so I can't complain about that. If I have one major complaint, it is not the combat, because I was sort of warned about that from the get-go, so that's not a problem. But the thing that bothers me the most, and that's probably because I'm not playing it enough, is that getting around and getting lost. Getting lost is very easy in Morrowind because you do not have a quest marker, and the HUD isn't easily accessible. It isn't on screen at all times. You do have a map that sort of vaguely pinpoints you in the right direction, but not enough for me to... With the amount that I'm playing currently, it's not enough to say that, oh, well, I'll just walking from Qa'Rajh to Balmora, that's no problem. I would get lost in a second. And, well, as the last Oblivion video, the last Morrowind video showed, I definitely got lost looking for another city and looking for mushrooms. Finding nothing but a valley with cliff faces that I luckily dealt with, but yeah. So, I plan to make more videos in Morrowind because I like it and I'd like to show a first time experience of. So that's gonna keep on happening, but because it's not easy to record, essentially with the visual novels I can just go into the visual novels, pop down the process line and say I'm recording this, and then it records it in the format that I like it to. Morrowind does not do that. It won't allow me to record in full screen because for some reason when I go into the game wants to be the only one thing that happens on my screen. So even if I have it in windowed mode, which is required for me to even record it, unlike the visual novels, it sort of locks me out of everything else on the screen. I can move my cursor, but it won't move out of the Morrowind window, which is a bit annoying, and it means that I essentially have to go in, look at the task manager, select the recording device, which goes like an overlay, and then from there on start the recording, make the recording, and then when it's all over I have to go into the task manager once again just to finish the recorder off, which could normally just be done with the click of a button. So that's a bit of a ball ache, but and it's part of the reason why I'm not making more Morrowind videos. But that's sort of the only grievance I have with it. I love the game very much. It's amazing to be back in the Elder Scrolls at all times, essentially, to me. So yeah, my last ongoing series currently is The Fruit of Qa'Rajh, a very large visual novel, which we are about, as stated before, 80% through. We are on the route of the 4th out of 5 girls, and essentially it's going to come to a close with the 5th girl. There isn't, in this first installment of the Fruit of Qa'Rajh series, there isn't bonus stuff that unlocks after you've read it all. What unlocks is essentially the CG scenes and the animated cutscenes that you can discover through playing. And you can also get, I think you also discover, you get sort of chibi profile pictures and you get regular profile pictures. I'm currently using a chibi version of Yuji as my Steam profile picture, and that's probably not going to change. Alright, a bit concerned here. My Elgato is not really responding, which is also why I cut the webcam. Alright, so in terms of that, I have plenty of visual novels that can take over when the Fruit of Qa'Rajh ends. I have multiple in the Qa'Rajh series, but because of their size, I'm not really tempted to get another Qa'Rajh series going right off the bat, even if it's a slightly different format with the Labyrinth of Qa'Rajh, which is the next installment. It's set up a bit different, but I think it would be better to explain that once we get to that. So, after the Fruit of Qa'Rajh ends, I'll bring up another visual novel, probably a completely new series, maybe another Sakura novel, because they are light and they are pretty easy to get through without a whole lot going for it. That's not a bad thing, but it's nice to just relax and not worry too much about the story, which, to be fair, isn't a big part of a Sakura novel. A Sakura novel is essentially going for as much fan service as possible, as you probably know. Obviously in the safe version, as I have all of my I bought all of my Sakura novels on Steam before Steam was like, you know what, nudity is fine. So yeah. Well, the recorder says that I have reached my 30 minutes for a normal recording, and frankly, I don't have much more to say. So, yeah. So, here's to 2019 with hopefully more views and hopefully more subscribers. And, well, until the next video, take care.